Hey folks, Boone's Wicked Eats. Today we're going to cure up some elk. A friend of mine, Tom Dale, came over and brought me a piece of a hind quarter of one of the elk that he got this year. And this piece of meat on the hind quarter is it's pretty lean. It's kind of like a eye of the round, but it's much more tender than that. It's not quite like a tenderloin, but nonetheless, it is still pretty tender. Not a lot of fat. But we're going to cure it up. I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to use some pretty mild flavorings because we don't want to overpower the elk, the flavors that come from the elk. That's a pretty mild meat. So let's get right to it and I'll show you guys how to do it. Okay, so we've got the 800 grams of the meat, and this is what it looks like. It's a really nice cut. It's very clean. And it's lean, and it's going to cure up really nicely. So what I did was I took 2.5% of the total weight and measured that out into pink salt. That's the pink Himalayan salt. I'll mix that into my mixing bowl. And then I took, I have 4 grams of garlic powder, which is 0.5% of the total weight. And I just don't want to overwhelm this cut with all of these other flavors. So that's why I'm going so small. I've also got a 1/2 or a 1/4% of the total weight with coriander. So we're going to add that, and then I have a 0.5% of paprika, which is 4 grams, and then we're going to finish it off with some curing salt number 2, which is like a Prague powder number 2. This is going to take care of any types of botulisms or bacteria that could form. And this is it's a 1/4%, so it's like 0.0025% times the total weight, and you're going to get 2 grams is just about what you get off that. And so we're going to mix all these together, and then we'll coat the meat, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so I've got this all coated. It looks really nice. So next step is I'm going to stick it into a bag, and I'm going to seal it up, and we're going to store it for a couple days in the refrigerator while it cures. During that curing process, all the salts and other powders and spices that I've added into this are going to get drawn in, as the salt is going to create kind of an osmosis, and it's going to the meat is going to draw the salt in. And then all of the water, or most of the water, a lot of it is going to get pushed out. Okay, so we got it all sealed up. If you guys don't have a vacuum sealer, you can put it in a Ziploc bag, or you can put it in a little casserole dish like I had it in earlier. The benefits of doing it in the sealed bag is that you really get an equalized kind of pressure throughout, and it keeps all of the curing to stay even throughout. So if you do it in a bag or you're in a casserole dish, just rotate it every day and you should be fine. Traditionally, it's 1.5 days per pound. So really it's like 3 days, but I'm probably just gonna end up doing 4 or 5. It really doesn't hurt to let this go because it's all weighed out, and it's not gonna get over salted. So, but 3 to 5 days should be plenty for this. So I'll take this out to the fridge. We'll go from there. Okay, we got we're at the fridge here in the shop, and we'll put it in here, just lay it in here. I put the date on it just to, it's just easy just to keep track. We're gonna put this in for 3 to 5 days, and then I'll be right back, and we'll start the second wave of this. Okay, so it's been about 5 days, 5.5 days actually. Here's the elk. It's really holding on to some good colors with that paprika. And still got some fluid buildup, which is good. So the water moisture is coming out of the elk and the seasonings are going in. So let's take this in and clean it up, and then we'll wrap it up to hang it. And that'll be our next step. Okay, so we got it cleaned up. I washed all of the curing off, and I've got all of our spices set up. I've got a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of mole, which is a nice mild pepper, and also a half of a teaspoon of smoked garlic. I also have some pepper flake that I'm just going to sprinkle onto the meat. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the paprika, the pepper, the mole, and the smoked garlic, and we're going to mix that all together. And then we'll take a little bit of the pepper and we can add that in there. Just a couple shakes, not a lot. We're going to mix it and we're going to spread it onto the meat. And then once we've got it all spread on here, then we're going to mix it up and make sure that it's coated all around. So you can see it's not a really heavy coat. Again, we don't really want to overpower these really mild flavors of the elk. And we want those flavors of the natural game to come through. So we just want these just a little bit of a coating, so it's a little background. Okay, so now we're going to tie this up. And if you don't know how to do the butcher's knots, you can just do individual strings and you can cut them out. You can with your lengths. And so I have about 5 here laid out at 10 inches, and then I have one really long one that's going to go across the grain. So here they are just laid out, and that'll give you an idea on how you want to tie it up. So let's start tying it up. Okay, so this is really easy to do. All you're going to be doing is about every inch to 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches, you're just going to tie a knot. You can do 2 twists and then pull it tight, because what you're doing is you're trying to get some consistency in the width and the roundness of this meat so that it cures evenly. So once you have it tied, then you're going to make one overhand knot and you're done, except for you're going to trim it. Okay, we've got this all secured and trussed up. We've got a loop on both ends so that I can switch it and keep the curing even. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to weigh this out so that we know how much weight we're going to remove from it. So it comes out to 806 grams. So we're going to take 40% of that off of the top. So that comes out to 322 grams. We're going to subtract that from the total. Which comes out to 484 grams. So that's going to be our finishing weight. So now that we've got our finishing weight, we can take it out and hang it up. And that's going to cure for probably 1.5 months. And so let's take it out to the shop now. Okay, so we have it tagged. We show the date on here, the cut of meat, and its final weight at 484. So let's hang it up with all the other stuff, and I'll see you guys back in probably a month and a half to 2 months. Okay, so it's been actually a little less than 30 days for this. Hanging it up in your shop, if the weather doesn't really cooperate, it kind of dries it out a little faster than you might want. We had some good storms, high humidity, and then the weather got a little warm, and it got a little dry, a little faster than I'd like. Nonetheless, it lost its moisture content, and we are about 30 grams under the 484. So we're at about 450 grams. And so we're ready to try this out. So we're gonna cut this open. We're gonna take the string off, and we'll try this out. Okay, so we got all the string off of it. So let's dive in here and see what this looks like. So we put the mole on here, smoked garlic and some paprika and a little the salts. All that stuff should really come through, and it should we should really still taste some of that the really good flavor of the elk too. So let's slice this out and see how it tastes. And this is going to be really good. It's got some really good softness to it. So there we are. So that's a good looking elk. All right, well, let's slice this off a piece and try it out. This looks really nice. I'm gonna walk up and show you how colorful this is. It's really good color. Let's take a try. Excellent, of course. A little background on mole. Well, the meat flavors are they're hanging there real mild. Just a really good flavor with some little garlic in the background. So, from the beginning to the end, this is taking a nice piece of elk hind quarter and cure it up 30 days. About 5-6 days for the cure, and around 30 days for to dry it out, and we've got ourselves a really nice product here. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you want to, look down below and hit the like button or subscribe, and I will send you guys some more videos coming soon. Thanks for tuning in to Boone's Wicked Eats.